Catch up on all the live shows right here on africatechradio.com.
Good evening. You're welcome to Back to Base on Africa Tech Radio. My name is Lillian. And of course, you know that Back to Base is that program for founders. We talk about a founder's journey. We talk about how they got to where they are today, the hurdles that they have passed through, and of course, the expert advice to people who would like to toe the same line. My name is Lillian. And you see, the world has finally seen, or for some, has finally seen the error in our ways. I mean, we now know that our actions can indeed hurt the planet, which can in turn hurt us, and that is why we're embarking on a green transition, albeit slowly, but of course it's steady, right? On this Saturday, the 12th of August, was the International Youth Day, and the theme was Green Skills for Youth towards a sustainable world. And according to the UN, to make this green transition successful, we need people to learn what we call green skills. These are things that you need to know to be good at or to live in a way that is good for the planet. And green skills include knowing how to use eco-friendly technologies and methods at work, as well as having the right attitudes and values to make environmentally friendly choices in your job and your everyday life. And one person who has taken this role seriously is Okey Esse, the founder CEO of Powerstove Energy. Now, if you're interested in founding a company, or if you want to learn how you can save the planet one action at a time with your skills, then stay put. Hi, Okey. How you doing?
Hi.
Okay. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. And you?
I'm great too. I mean, how have you been seeing Nigeria this past few days?
Well, we're always positive as entrepreneurs that so let's get better. Yeah, it's tough, it's challenging, but we are positive. Just as entrepreneurs, we keep looking for innovative ways to survive the present.
Okay, that is amazing. Let's just dive into it, right? Tell me about your company, Powerstove Energy.
Okay, Powerstove was started 5 years ago as a company that produces a clean cook stoves, a stove that when you cook, you can also charge your phone and also have electricity in your home. So we started it 5 years ago. Then 3 years ago, we launched the largest what we call wood pellet. So we introduced what is called wood pellet. Wood pellet is a substitute fuel for charcoal and firewood and kerosene. So it's more economical and it's more efficient. So we produce that as a company, and we've been scaling our production and our market. So that's what we do. We produce stoves that generates electricity that uses our biomass wood pellet.
What is the wood pellet? What is that?
Okay, wood pellet is a fuel made from sawdust. The normal sawdust that we know as waste, or the normal rice husk that we see when we mill rice, the bark that comes out as waste. Some people use it for animal feed, and there also another one that is a waste. So we take the other ones that is a waste and convert it into something like a pellet. Is cylindrical, brown or golden in color, and is a substitute for charcoal, firewood, and kerosene for cooking.
When I was younger, we visited the village, and my grandparents, my aunts then in the village, they used to use coconut bark and
exactly.
And the one from palm tree. There's one thin, I don't know what to call that, and they used that, and it generated fire, and it was working. Yes. But then there was one thing about that: the smoke was always too much. So how do you regulate that?
Exactly. We also use coconut husk or palm kernel shell.
Palm kernel shell.
But the difference is the way we engineered our stove. Our stove, we had what we call the airflow system.
Okay.
The airflow system ensures that the right amount of oxygen that the flame needs to burn efficiently gets to the flame. So in that way, it becomes smokeless. Any flame that is smoky means that it lacks oxygen. So it's trying to breathe. So you need to allow the flame to breathe well.
Don't suffocate it.
Don't suffocate it.
All right. So before you stumbled upon Powerstove Energy, what were you doing before?
Okay, I was in a, people call it a financial consultant, but what it means is that I was helping companies to raise funds.
Oh, wow.
So I was into fundraising. So they were calling me consultant, but I don't know. But what I know is that I was helping companies, both established and new ones, to raise funds. So while I was doing it, I discovered that it was paying the bills, but it wasn't a sustainable business. I wasn't doing anything social impact.
Oh, okay.
So I wasn't impacting lives, So I decided to make the switch to move into a green economy to ensure that we make money, we also impact lives and create more societal benefits.
So, of all the things you could have done to impact life, why did you choose clean tech?
Yes, why I chose it because we were discussing as a team. We're like, what is the number one pressing problem that we have in Nigeria? All of us chorus is power. Everybody said it's power. So we now said, yeah, but how can we domesticate this problem? It's power, is the funding that it needs, have a lot of license, regulation. So how can we domesticate this problem so that we can find a solution that meets it? We normally call it problem solution fit. Your problem must be able to fit your solution must be able to fit the problem you want to solve. So after we discussed a lot of ideas, we iterated a lot of ideas, we came up to say, okay, since every home primarily cooks, why can't we look for a stove that can also generate electricity? And that is how the idea came up, to design a stove that can also produce electricity. That's how we came up with the idea.
So you're telling me that when you put those pellets in the stove, I can plug my phone in that same thing, or is another stove?
Exactly. No, the same stove. How it works is, the way you put your charger in the car cigarette spot, start charging your phone. So that is like how the concept works. So where you plug it is where the flame is generated that cooks your food. So we converted the flame into electricity. So that's just to bring it home.
That is genius. Oh my God. How did you think about that?
Yeah, I think it's just we look around us and said we have a lot of problems, and we believe technology is an enabler, to help us to solve our problems.
Oh, wow. So you mentioned how you thought about alternative sources for electricity. And Nigeria is in a place right now. We are in a state, right? Although in some parts of the country we have steady power supply, other parts of the country are begging for mercy. This will help the rural areas so much, those people who don't have access to electricity, because when you can power your phone, you're good, right? But then even those in the urban areas, right, those who are dependent on petrol, fossil fuel in general, Nigeria now, if it's not petrol, if it's not diesel, we are not resting. So what other alternative source of electricity do you propose Nigerians should start looking into?
I will propose for us to liberalize power generation. The way it is currently, I know this government is trying to, look into that policy. The policy says that as an individual, you can only generate a minimum of 100 kilowatts. This is huge amount of investment. But if they can make it that, okay, even if I want to generate 10 kilowatts, I can generate and supply my neighbor, then that becomes a business model for someone to say, okay, how much to go into 10 kilowatts using solar and allow me to transmit it to my neighborhood. So I remember those days when DSTV was, a status thing. You see some people who pay for the subscription and start sharing the wire to their neighbors. So that was when it was like a status thing.
Yeah.
Then from there, they had to, a lot of companies came and tried to make it affordable. So if government can allow Nigerians who can afford it, solar is just the best, because we are positioned in the area where we have a lot of sunshine. So because we have a lot of sunshine, we can access that benefit and start generating electricity. For somebody that 10 kV is a whole lot of energy for a household. So if that person can sell 2 kV to his or her neighbor, it will help other people. Before you know, if you live in an estate, maybe 3 or 4 people might generate electricity for the whole estate. And that can make the pricing competitive. So what I'm saying, when the discos can see that Nigerians can generate electricity and distribute it to their community, it will create price competitiveness. So this pricing that you keep hearing, the discos will keep increasing prices arbitrarily. They'll start thinking twice because they know that there's alternative. But in as much as there is no alternative, there is no amount of electricity you generate that can solve the problem we are facing. So it's about giving individuals the authority to generate and distribute and make money. Then it becomes price competitive.
Okay. Of course, you know that when I introduced this program, I said that on Saturday was the International Youth Day. But the thing they chose this time around is growing skills for youth towards a sustainable world. Now, imagine there are some techies out there who want to start a company. And they're saying, okay, I want to start a company. I want to start going to green tech, clean tech, but I don't know which other aspects I should look into. Do you have any insight on that?
Yes, I have. Green tech is a very broad industry. And what I will advise is for anyone that wants to go into any sector or any industry within the green tech, the person needs to understand the technology behind it. For example, you want to go into biogas generation, is green tech. You want to convert waste to electricity, is it. You want to convert recycled plastics into other uses like ties, like petrol and others. That's an industry. You also want to go into smart agriculture, talking about organic farming, talking about biogas farming, so it is broad. The advice is, in as much as there is a huge opportunity for it, the world is moving towards sustainability. Everybody is talking about how do we fight climate change? How do we reduce emissions? So there is a lot of opportunities in this industry. The person going into it need to be able to go and study technologies that drives the innovation they want to introduce, and also be able to ask themselves, how can we make our own better? Because if you don't have a way to make your technology better, you will not be successful, because people will always push you out of the market. Business is like a battleground.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So just find out the niche you want to carve, then go and learn the technology behind it. Simple. I saw somebody online. She was she recycled, was it sachet water? And she used it into this very sturdy travel bag. Amazing. Like, there's nothing you do to that bag like to cut. I just noticed that. And it's amazing. So what about now the world, right? So you know that we just started talking about climate change not quite long ago. It has been in the lines. People have been talking about it, but we just started taking it seriously not quite long ago. How do you encourage others to start looking into eco-friendly activities to save the planet?
I will say there is no hard and fast way to do that, except the willingness. The person need to believe that, okay, I want to be an activist. I want to help the environment, because anything about eco-sensitization is like an NGO, is like giving back to the environment. So there is no much financial incentives attached to it. However, you can also be innovative to find a way to create a business model. Even though you want to talk about the environment, allow people to make a behavioral shift, start using single-use plastics, start thinking about composting, start taking a lot of things about being eco-friendly. They need to also look at, okay, how can I monetize these activities? Because in the monetization of that activities becomes sustainable. There is no sustainability without money. So they need to also think through, okay, this activity I want to do, how can I monetize it? There are different ways they can monetize it. They can allow people to see it as there is a cause they want to be part of. So you tell them to make $1 donation or 1,000 naira donation. Then you create a very robust accounting system. If I'm contributing to your cause, I need to get an email to tell me this is how much we received, this is how we utilize this money, then this is what we want to do in the next month. Then I'll feel happy that the 1,000 naira I've donated to this cause, this is the impact it has made. Then I'll decide, okay, then let me give them 2,000. They've been able to prove. So it's about being accountable. Even though you want to monetize your project, you have to also be accountable to those who are also contributing to your cause.
All right. You talked about how you have been in fintech. You have been they called you consultant, right? And then you started this company 5 years ago, which is
exactly
amazing. Anything can be started at any time. Whenever you get the idea, start working towards it. But then I cannot help but wonder the kinds of hurdles that you might have faced in the course of starting running, and trying to keep your business afloat. So can you share some of those with us? Some of the challenges that you have faced so far?
I'll share it, but I'm not sharing it to discourage people. But I'm sharing to understand that, if life throws you lemon, make lemonade out of it.
Simple.
So let me give you an example. When we started, let me say 3 years ago, we buy diesel at less than 150 naira a liter. Then last year it hit 1,000 naira a liter.
Oh wow!
And at that time, I was spending close to 120,000 naira a day production. That is what I spent, and this was not planned, And you must keep the generator running. If not, how will you pay salaries? How will you make money? That's one of the challenge. Then now it has dropped around 700 and something, which is like times 6 what it was. Then let me give you another example. When government said they've removed subsidy, it's biting everybody. Now we normally spend around 200,000 to move our goods from Abuja to Gombe, and now it is 480 naira to move the same goods, and the market does not want us to increase price. You see the challenge. So if the market is allowing us to also increase price, we'll pass the burden to the users. But the market, because we are price sensitive and is a highly competitive industry, you also need to look at your competitors. If they are not increasing, why are you increasing? So that means you need to look internally to know how to be able to move your cost around, to be able to find a way to compensate for this. And another thing also that have happened also is that electricity bill has went to the ceiling. We normally spend around 50,000 naira every month. Now we're spending 100 and something thousand naira on electricity bill. These are costs that we cannot do anything about it. The external factor costs. These are challenges that we're looking at. Then another thing also we face, there are some raw materials that we import from China. Because we cannot access dollar, so we need to now buy dollar at almost 1,000 naira that it is today. It's around 920 naira. This is when we started, we were buying at less than 150 naira to import our raw materials. Now we're almost 1,000 naira. So you can see that the external factors are pressing us to the jugular. But as entrepreneurs, I cannot stand and be shouting. You just need to look at how to be innovative and to come out of this. So that's what I want people to understand, that if you want to go into business, you don't need to complain. You just need to look go back to your drawing board and do your plus and minus and know how to cut some cuts from somewhere and compensate for the other side that you cannot, so that you can breathe.
Breathing is very important.
Very important.
What I've been wondering when you were talking, I was just imagining myself using your product, right? I was like, wow, it's going to be really cool to save me a lot of money. But then I realized, I thought to myself, so if the thing you use as fuel, what did you call it again?
The pellets.
If those pellets, the one that I'll buy with if it finishes, where do I get another?
So what we encourage people who are not within our markets, that will have a physical store where they can refill, we tell them to buy 50 kg. 50 kg is 5,000 naira. And you can use 50 kg for 2 months plus. Depending on, if you're a small size family, you use it for 3 months. But for family like 6, 7, they can use it for 2 months. So you already know that before it gets finished, you order for another one.
Okay.
So that's what we encourage people who are far from us. But if you are close to us, you can take 10 kg you finish, you go to our stores and make your repurchase.
That works. That actually does work. Oh my gosh. I will need to have one of those products. And finally, I know that there's always room for growth in every industry. So what is next for your company? What do you see? Where do you see your company in? When they see people say, where do you see yourself in 5 years? I never know how to answer that question, but I feel you do.
Yeah, okay. This month we're introducing new products. It's a product that once you buy it, you don't buy fuel again. The fuel comes zero, and with the fuel you can also power your generator. So we're giving you a stove that once you buy it, you don't come back to us again to buy fuel. You don't need to buy fuel for a generator. We're launching it this month. So I want to tell you to keep an eye on our pages. We're going to launch it. Another thing for us is before the end of this month, we are going to launch the largest cook stove project in Nigeria, 500,000 units. We're doing it in 7 states in Nigeria. So we also need to check us out before the end of this month. Our partners, we are fine-tuning every other details on the contract. So it's coming up. 7 states. We announced it that the 7 states. When we are.
I'm sure Lagos will be among the 7 states now.
So another thing also for us is we're expanding into outside Nigeria. We have partners in Cameroon. So we have new partners that is coming up in Zambia. So we're expanding towards Zambia before the end of this month. And these are things that we are focusing on currently aggressively to ensure that we end this year on a stronger foot like we did last year.
Amazing stuff. It's a great thing you're doing, right? Because like I said before, if you go into some communities, some of them are not seeing lights since this year started, and if they can have a way to power something, that would be amazing. So, is there anything you want to say before we leave?
I want to thank you for the opportunity. I always like this opportunity to interact with people, encourage them. That's my main purpose, to encourage people to understand that the way the economy is going, you need to also think outside the box. If you're having a full-time employment, you also think about doing a side hustle. We need it. And you can start side hustle with Powerstove. We're there to partner with you.
All right, amazing. Thank you very much for joining us. You're listening to Africa Tech Radio. My name is Lillian, and of course, I have been having a conversation with Okey Esse.
Thanks for listening, and don't forget to catch up on all the live shows right here on africatechradio.com.